Hello again, friends, and welcome to The Mouse Says the Butler Didn't Do It. I am Nico Scher. My pen name is Cheryl Ann Butler, and these are unpublished stories written by myself. This is the Mouse's channel. She is our Chewini, and in this we may be visited by several cats and 2 puppies. To begin with where we left off, Storm had just seen the action at O'Shaughnessy's Irish Pub, where his father and his future stepmom had their engagement, and as it turned out, his father's half-brother, Reed, was there, and there was some action, including that of the involvement of a ghost pack of giant schnauzers, namely Otis, his lassie, and his crew. So now we begin again in chapter 80. And by the way, the mouse is making her appearance. And this one, Kitty, is normal. Chapter 80. Storm watched his father leave the dining area as several people rose and applauded for him. "Mom, what was the action at the bar, and how come Reed didn't pay attention to me, but singled out Dad?" Destiny took a deep breath, then sipped her drink. She held up her index finger. "One question at a time, and I need to ask a few questions of my own of you to actually answer your questions. Do you know or have ever been told about the O'Shaughnessy's ghost dog, Otis?" "Yes, Dad Silver and Mom Emily, or D2 and M2, because you're going to be Mom. They explained he was a giant schnauzer that lived here when it was a roadside tavern in the late 1700s. And he passed away a few days after the British fired on New Hope when Washington went over the river to attack Trenton, and they shelled New Hope because the ferry rope was cut. That he sometimes shows up here, has some fun, and, well, I guess it's with the family. It looked to me like he brought an entire pack of dogs with him tonight, but why would he not carry off her feet and brush against me, then have them do the same? I felt him. I felt them. Their fur. He stopped for a second. "Mom, it's long and very soft." "You're lucky. So was she. That doesn't happen to everyone." He needed her to be safe because she identified Reed and Reggie and stated they were friends of her father's. He was protecting her as he sensed she has gifts. Apparently, Carrie is a witch. She's a witch, and when he saw and took his chance, I believe, to send a message. He will also defend if he doesn't like something. I'm pretty sure he just defended your dad and you. Reed does not know of me, nor has he ever met me. So, I was just some broad and that was here and in the way to him until Dad asked me to marry him. Then I became of interest to him, and Otis knew it. Do you know the size and description of a giant schnauzer?" I know by the name they have to be a big dog, and by what I felt, he's bigger than my Lady Lobo, but I don't know how big. Destiny turned in her seat. There on the wall, she pointed. Do you see the painting of the big black dog? That's Otis. When he was about 10, the portrait was done in 1769. He was up in years when he passed. Giant schnauzers, like their names state, and as you said, are big, but they're also playful and gentle. Otis was, I think his plaque says, 27 inches at the shoulders and 80 to 85 pounds. You think his ghost screwed with them on account of Dad, you, and me, and the family that had visitations from their daughter and son-in-law they lost? You mean the O'Shaughnessy's? Yes, I do. She turned back to face him. He was raised as a protector and a guard. They were U.S. Marines, and he messed with their daughter, and your father stepped into it to protect her 10 years ago. He's also the one who got Carrie the job here after some bullshit with her father's brother and a shit-ass job he conned her into taking for his business. My second question to you is, what do you know about Dad's relationship in the family? And I don't mean by blood to Reed. Has Dad or anyone explained anything? I know Reed has always been trouble, Mom, because of what his father George did to Dad's world as a child and as a young teen, that Reed was able to lead him down a dark path. Mom, I can't prove it, and I ain't about to ask Dad. If he feels like he wants to talk, he'll talk. I found that out early this morning when he saw my light on and decided to explain about some of the shit he went through with Reed, but I don't think he explained all of it. There is no way I'll ever push him. I don't want him to ever be hurt. He's been through too much, but I can tell you, he had bit his lip. I'm pretty sure Reed hurt Dad several times before the night he was attacked. He dropped his head. Storm, get your head up. He raised it to look at her. I want the truth. No keeping secrets between us. Me, Dad, and you. Other than the physical abuse I know you went through because of your arm, and Mama Licorice told me about you two when you two left with Mom. What she discovered when she was washing your hair. Were you ever molested or worse? He slowly nodded. Several of Kathy's tricks. Her girlfriend Chickie, Laurel's and Heather's mother, took my virginity when I was almost 13. It wasn't what I wanted. Kathy, the month before she died, she moved me into her bedroom. He closed his eyes. Destiny looked up to see Graham coming from the bar, where he tossed 2 jackets off of the floor and handed Mr. Sean an envelope, a billfold, and a wallet. He now stood behind his son. Storm blinked twice and opened his eyes. After every trick, she'd make me put on a condom if I was home or when I walked in from school and have sex with her. When I was placed with Reed, I'm pretty sure I know what he did to Dad over those years. In 2 weeks, 5 times, he shuddered. But he used condoms, and 2 of his clients. He wrinkled his nose. 2 nights before he broke my arm, they told me they had paid him, and while I was there, they bought and paid for me for those nights and other nights. I missed those days at work, and he was screaming at them when I came home early because I was a freebie for those days and they were short on their sales money. Then the blonde, well, she went psycho and blew the one guy away with a sawed-off shotgun. 2 hands landed on his shoulders to pull him back into a strong hug. Thought so, Graham growled. We will talk to Uncle Jimmy, and I'd like for you to talk to Perry Penny as a counselor. Are you okay? He held tight to Storm. We'll need to make an appointment with Dr. Azart to have a physical done and make sure you're all right. Storm nodded. I know I need to have that done, but I'm good. I got my dad and now a mom and my family. I'll be okay. He turned his head to smile up at his father. Please sit down and eat before your dinner gets cold. He picked up his fork. Graham let go to slide into his seat. I have some wonderful news. He took a drink from his glass. Paternity results are in. Kiddo, you are a Papadopoulos Calhoun. 99.9% positive. You are mine. Graham held up his glass as those green eyes of his sparkled. Destiny and Storm did the same and clicked glasses. Yes, Storm smiled, then took a sip and watched as the 2 different officers left the restaurant. Also, Caleb, Tony, and Garble just dropped off a very large bubble pack mailer with your Uncle Jim at the police station. He dropped it off at the house, and they are on their way here to meet with the 2 officers that just headed out to their vehicle. They'll wait there for them to get here. They got to the right Vineland storage unit. It took a hell of a long time because they had to try several different facilities and every freaking locker that was on those properties. Your name is on that storage unit, but it's spelt completely wrong. As a matter of fact, Caleb spelled it backwards, and that's the name on it. They figured if they pulled it once with Uncle Silver's name, they might do it with yours as well. They were down there for 12.5 hours. Holy cow, Dad. They missed all of Thanksgiving with their families to do this? Yeah, they did. They arrived at the first one at 8 in the morning, and they just turned it over to Jim, and he looked at his watch, 8:52 in the evening. He ran by the house at about 8:30 when dispatchers gave him the call from here, and they had to hit the station for the warrants. It's been a hell of a day for all of those guys of the PI team, and for your Uncle Jim as well. Dad's feeding them the leftover turkey because they didn't eat it all today. So when we get home, Storm has an envelope to open, and it turns out the storage unit is now in your correct name with mine attached. They paid 6 months prepaid on the units and paid off the bills that were owed for the last 3 months. The envelope was taped to the front of a box with your name on it, and the unit, or I should say units. There are 3 of them. 2 of them had effed up locks on them, so the guys purchased new locks and put them on. Someone obviously tried to get in without a key. And there are several others. Probably Reed. Storm blew out a breath. You're more than likely right. All 3 are 16 by 20 and filled with boxes and furniture, and it appears it's your grandmother's, Michelle's, and great-grandmother's, Candy's, although I wouldn't calculate on Candy's wanting anything back. She's the one that's half nuts. Old stuff. she had from her mother, and things that had the Dawkins name on them as well. Your grandfather Dawkins' family stuff. We think she probably was given it in the divorce to get rid of her. But she's still alive, right? Because after what has been said about her, I really don't want to deal with her. Can we avoid that? Yes, we can avoid it, and there are other units that are sitting there that haven't been opened, that are now in your name. But no, neither he or his second wife are alive, and it appears it's Michelle's and her family's stuff, along with this teacher she was involved with for all those years. You now own. They found several things, something else. An urn with Michelle Dawkins' name on it and the date of 8 months ago, along with an urn of the teacher and her stepmother's and stepfather's urns, and 2 of her stepfathers from Candy's marriage. It appears her father and stepmother both left all their items to Michelle, and so did the teacher, and they were stored by her and Kathy. So, it's all yours. I don't think we'll even contact Candy's on this. Your name was on all 3 of the units, and there were 2 units that were in Kathy's name, and they made a few calls, and the gentleman who owned the storage unit, when he saw the articles they presented, agreed to transfer those units into your name and mine. There's also another one, they're not sure where it came from, but it's got Kathy's name on it as well. So there are a total of 10 of those bitches. He took a deep breath. You okay? He started to eat slowly as he watched his son. Storm was quiet. Last January, Storm blinked several times. Kathy got a phone call and disappeared for a couple of weeks. She and Raphael took off, and I was on my own. Dad, it was the best 3 weeks of my life with her. It was peaceful, and yes, Dad, I attended school every day. He took a bite of his meal. No, Dad, we have an envelope to open, and the Calhouns and the Mandula family as well. What I'm going to do with all of that stuff, I got no idea. I don't even know what would be in there. The apartment definitely didn't have that much stuff. Graham bowed his head. We'll have to get everyone to help and see what it all is and go from there. Storm, Destiny finished chewing her bite. To answer the question of why Reed didn't focus on you, but did, Dad, you at 15 now look like you're in your late teens or early 20s with your hair, the soul patch, the outfit, which is perfect for you, and the pride you have from Dad and the family. He's got no clue who you are. The dreadlocks are gone and your hair is hanging long. And he didn't figure out you would be using a walker. But Dad, it completely threw him. He turned to Graham. Babe, how long has it been since he's seen you? As Graham was chewing, he set down his fork to swallow and reached for his glass. He closed his eyes to take a drink, then set it down and focused on them. Before the other day, Chapter 81. Graham sat there and thought for several moments. Dad? Good question. He picked up his dinner roll to butter. It had to be quite a few years, right, babe? Destiny drank some of her Shirley Temple. About 7 years. Yeah. 7 years in July. Lincoln Financial Field. The lake. July 14th through 16th of, yeah, the Guns N' Roses concert was the 14th, and they had a Wicca conference at the hotel on the 15th. You saw him at a rock concert, Dad? Graham laughed. Hell no. I can't see him hanging at a concert, unless it would be to do some dirty deeds. Edward and I got tickets for Jonathan's birthday. I used one of my hotel connections to get us a 2-bedroom suite in the hotel where the conference was. The hotel had a shuttle service for that concert. The next day, we took the cab on the 15th to Campo's. It's a deli, and ordered takeout hoagies and cheesesteaks because the conference was that night, and we took them back to the hotel. Ed called for a cab to pick us up, and we were outside waiting because the day was a real nice one, about 80 degrees, jeans and t-shirt weather. Reed was on the corner bullshitting with a couple of guys. He spotted me and started to approach, but a squad car pulled up. An officer got out. He spoke to us. General stuff. How's your day going? Have a nice day. That type of thing, and headed in to pick up their own lunch and came back out as the cab arrived. As we got into the cab, the officer stood watching Reed and the guys he was with, and they slowly drifted away. Come to think of it, I actually mentioned it to Jonathan. I thought I saw Farouk and Fassar, but it's been years. I wasn't sure. We went back to the hotel. We had lunch. Ed, John, and I attended the conference. We watched the remake of The Magnificent Seven that night and had room service and came home the next morning. End of story. What are you figuring out? 'Cause I can see the gears working, sweetheart. You were with the guys. He never met Ed and John until he showed up here looking for Storm, right? Destiny reached for her glass. Not that I know of. The first time... Wait. I don't know if they were present at the witch shop when he showed up. They may have been taking Kimmy back to school after her work-ops program. And tonight, he saw me with you and the engagement, and he didn't recognize Storm. But why would... The envelope, Dad. There's something in that envelope he wants, or in the storage units. That's why it was him trying to get into them. I'll bet, or knowing Kathy, that something that in that envelope is going to lead us on a trail, or something he wants in the units. He's figuring if I had the envelope or whatever it is he wants. Kathy gave the envelope to her shrink, who knows when, to be put away with all that stuff because Kathy didn't have a car. Dr. Phil took her everywhere. She lost her license permanently because of some shit before I was placed back with her after the divorce from Will Clark. She didn't drive. With me having that envelope, oh shit. Dad, I have to say this. The family and I will do anything to keep you safe. If he ever got his hands on you, that envelope would be his to get my dad back, and the family would agree. That's why this bastard is tracking my dad. Storm fisted his hands as they shook. Graham blew out a breath and took one of his son's hands in his. Destiny, what do you think? I agree with Storm. But let's try to relax and enjoy the evening, and we'll head home and talk this over there. All right, sounds good. Storm, let me explain about Carrie. You've met her mom, Ruby, who is our laundress and seamstress at the B&B. Blythe is the teen that swept the floors and stocked the shampoo and conditioners for the wash sinks and the towels at Mom's salon. She wants to learn about the business. Ruby has 5 other children, all girls, for a total of 7. The youngest is 7. Their father walked out before she was born on Christmas Eve and took everything, then sold their property, Ruby's property, from her grandfather's estate and had them evicted because he sold it to his bastard of a brother who wanted the land. They were left homeless and destitute for several years because he emptied the bank accounts. This was before Dad and Mom and I found out about what had happened to them. Dad served with Ruby's father. He was killed in El Salvador on a different mission than Dad and Uncle Silver were hit on with Iceberg. It was 6 years after the war had ended. We don't know why he was sent down there by our government, but his death was listed as killed in action. Their father is doing time because he blew everything on coke, heroin, and anything he could pop. It went up his nose and through a needle because he did freebase. Then it turned out he was part of a theft ring and was supposed to be the second in command, and then committed armed robbery 3 years ago at this time of year. Can you guess who it was? Dad, don't tell me Billy Black. I thought Miss Ruby's last name was Bloomington. It is. When they divorced and when everything happened 3 years ago, she petitioned the court to change her last name back to her maiden name along with that of the children. He's never paid a single cent of child support, so why should they have to deal with the retribution of carrying his last name as an insult on top of everything else that he'd put them through? The family needed help. And you gave it. That's my dad. Ruby was already working for the B&B. We hired her a month or so before I was shot. Grandmom was shopping at Cranberry House, and Ruby was scraping change together to see what she could come up with for a few used gifts for the girls for Christmas presents and birthday gifts for one of them, then almost 4 years ago, for charity. Mom stepped in and took her and the girls to lunch at the inn that Saturday afternoon and found out, although she was working at the inn, they had no place to live out of the elements, and she was living with the girls in tents in a homeless camp. No more. Mom took Ruby to get the things with Uncle Zarves and Rasputin as backup, just in case Billy was there, and packed up the girls. They were in the carriage house that night, and Ruby was researching how to do proper laundry and ironing, as she already was a fantastic seamstress from her grandmother, who was the seamstress for the inn for many years. We think that may have been the reason he actually targeted me that weekend, to scare her and the children, as Mom and Dad didn't know, nor did I, that they were homeless and living in a freaking tent. He raided their camp weeks before, shortly after she was hired at the inn, and taken everything he could sell and left them with nothing, including the few small things she bought for their gifts. Then threatened to take the girls if she didn't start to pay him $100 a week from her paycheck from working for Mom and Dad. He told her he'd call and report her to CPS, and with Mom stepping in, he couldn't do jack shit with his threats. She now had a solid job she'd been working for over 2 months at. She had the girls in school, and Charity was in the Head Start and daycare, and Mom was picking her up for safety reasons. Mom and Dad moved them into the carriage house, and it had 4 bedrooms plus a large-sized den, so Carrie and Blythe had their own room. Ruby had the master suite, and the girls each shared the other 2 bedrooms, and we turned the den into another bedroom for them. They had a working kitchen for the most part, and a usable bath, and all the utilities were covered. We still won't accept rent. They needed this because of that bastard. After he shot me while he was still loose, he tried for another raid on the camp, only they weren't there, and when he found out they were at the carriage house, he tried to get her to let him in by making threats. Only Dad had planned on stopping by to see if they needed anything and was dropping off groceries and heard Ruby crying. He recognized the beater Billy drove and did a little of his own mechanic's magic and called for backup in Jim and Richie. They nailed him first off for trespassing, then making threats, and when he tried to leave and the car wouldn't start, he took off on foot. Dad had it towed and impounded. That's the day before he robbed me, and then tried to take the cat's charms back and got his ass busted. This holiday, there's going to be a little extra surprise for Ruby Roo, as I called her in our teens. He winked at Destiny and raised a glass to take a drink. Then, less than a year ago, Carrie got her working papers and was hired to work as a waitress at a place called the Ink Spot Lounge, not knowing her Uncle Ralph owned it through legalities, as he had it placed in his wife's name. He tried to force her into some shit before I got wind of it, and I recommended her to Polka Dot and Peekaboo and Hide and Seek when we were able to get her loose. Is Jess, Dan, and I. We walked in one night to that hellhole on a rumor has it visit, and she was there in tears. He was trying to have her turn tricks. What? Storm whispered. Your dad and uncles busted that place up, and Ralph is doing time for not only sexual solicitation of a minor, but also running a prostitution ring. He was one of them busted in the big bust here in Pennsylvania, Destiny explained. She's been here since then, 8 months now. 2 months ago, Blythe got her working papers and wanted to be a stylist, so I offered her a paid apprenticeship. She's great, Destiny smiled, and she's learned so much. She's always inquiring, always interested in as to how to do things right and proper. She's going to be a fantastic as a hairstylist and a designer. I met Lenny in school the first day, Dad. She's really nice. She's best friends with Clemmy Crawley and Shauna. Graham smiled as he finished eating. Would either of you like dessert? Destiny and Storm looked at each other and shook their heads. Graham raised a hand. The other girls are named Jamie, Ryan, Lainey, and Charity is the youngest. Carrie came over. Yes, Mr. Calhoun. May I have the check, please? Sure, sir, and congratulations again. She set down the check and went to term. Hold on, Carrie. He picked up the check, took his pen from his pocket, and wrote something. He winked at her and handed it back to her. They stood to start for the door as they pulled on their coats, and Graham helped to balance Storm until he took hold of his walker. Graham opened the door as Carrie ran up to him. Mr. Calhoun, this is too much. Way too much. That big gift of a tip, and now this. Carrie, My half-brother helped to screw your mother and your family's world. He and Ralph. Your family home was turned into a flophouse and destroyed by the druggies Sid and Bunny left live there. And when it couldn't be repaired, it was demolished and sold just as a plot of land. And it's now where the landfill has opened its recycle center because he lost it for back taxes, and Will was able to purchase it. You had to grow up in a homeless camp in tents in all kinds of weather. Your mom worked hard to keep you all together and only asked my mom if we could take you until she could find a proper shelter for you all. We were grateful when she accepted our offer for laundress job 3 years ago, and that gave us a chance that we could eventually help, and she would accept that help. She worked hard and knows the business. You and Blythe work hard as well. You and she both carry a 4.0 grade average or better and do all the running and pick up the kids from school to help your mom. Don't tell me it's too much because you all work your butts off and take care of that carriage house just so I don't have to face old memories and deal with it. So, I need to thank you, Mom, and the girls. You have a good night, sweetheart, and be careful driving home. He held the door for Destiny and Storm to exit, and he followed. Carrie stood there with tears in her eyes. Thank you, she mouthed. He gave a wave over his head as they walked to the vehicles. What did you do now, sweet man? Destiny paused at her driver's door as they heard the sirens wail and the police cruiser pulled into the lot. Chapter 82. Graham unlocked the door of the F-150 for Destiny. Graham, she looked into his eyes. Otis dislodged 2 yellow envelopes that hit the floor and a billfold in his and his pack's rampage, along with a large bubble mailer. No ID was with either of them or the wallet that went flying. When the jackets hit the floor and Reed and Reggie were thrashing around trying to get on their feet, they were apparently kicked down the hall towards the cell phone booths and wedged against the bar rail and under a stool. Along with the 2 very large yellow envelopes that was bundled with a heavy band, there was a clear baggie. I picked them up and took them to Mr. Sean when we entered the office. He opened them to see if there was an ID. In the clear baggie, there were several nickel and dime bags of coke and a bunch of pills. All large, $100 bills, $50 bills. Nothing less than a 50, and the other one, and the third. There was a combination of them. The billfold held cash, and again several bags of pills. X, we think, and some other pills none of us has ever seen. He made the phone call to the police, and the drugs were turned over to them. The yellow bundle thing had a stack of bills. He held out both hands at 8 inches apart. Let's just say, holy Christ, how much? Destiny squeaked, and then blinked at him. Let's just say there's enough for Ruby and the girls to make a full payment on the abandoned house next to ours for the back taxes owed on it for the 3 years. The county owns it and has been trying to get rid of it for the last 18 months. Ruby has been trying to save up to buy it for the last year. And they'll be able to live in the carriage house until the new place is made livable. I guarantee neither Reggie or Reed will show to claim either of the envelopes, wallet, or the billfold. The wallet, too, had a stash of money and white stuff in several bags. To begin with, none of them had identifications in them. And if they're stupid enough to, then they will go bye-bye for a very long time. Plus, they went for questioning in Philadelphia on charges of multiple murders. He kissed her lips. See you at home, my lady. Be safe. She stepped back to open the door and get in to close it and start to warm the truck up. The men walked around the porch for him and Storm to get in as Destiny drove out and they followed. Dad, how much cash were you talking about in them envelopes? Wallet and billfold. Well, I'll put it this way. He either got one hell of a payback from selling the shit, or he was about to make one hell of a buy. We only counted the yellow envelopes, and it held over $1.5 million. The bubble mailer, I got no clue. The billfold was bulging. The money clip is where Mr. Sean took about $500 out of. Then there was the wallet. Mr. Sean opened that to discover there were more than 5 times the cost of the damage. And the rest went into a couple of inner office envelopes, and Mr. Joe went out the back door to Ruby's and took her to the bank with a deposit bag, and he called Catherine Morgan of the bank, and she met them there to make the proper deposits and open several accounts quietly. And although it ain't legal, I don't give a shit. Ruby has a safety security box for when she needs to do repairs on the place. Fuck Billy's ass and read both. Then they're going to the real estate agent, who is Alicia Morgan, sister of the banker, and the house will be theirs by the second week in December, and repairs will be started on it by Cody's construction company by the new year. I made the call to the code man. He's got no problem handling this and doing whatever needs to be done to make the place a home for her and the kids. And we will find someone to set up a security system for her safety and the safety of the girls. They drove home. 83. The black Hummer EV sat in the shadow area of the towpath as the police cruiser passed as it pulled out of O'Shaughnessy's parking lot. Jim and Rich followed the 2 detectives, Helani Pele and Slidella Parker, as they started to leave for the station after their meeting with the O'Shaughnessys. There were the 2 officers who answered the call to the Irish pub. In the car, Reggie was checking the floor of the truck while Reed tore apart the seats. Where the fuck are they? They gotta be here. He yanked the glove box door open. Guys, where are your jackets? Tammy West asked as she leaned forward from the back seat. What the hell does that matter? We're looking for 2 large yellow envelopes, a bubble mailer, and a bundle white inner office envelope with the billfold, money clip, and my fucking wallet, Reed answered. Well, before you decided to cold cock my ass, you put the envelope in your inside breast pocket of your jacket, and Reggie handed you the billfold, and that went into your hip pocket of the same jacket. He pocketed the money clip and put it in his jacket pocket. You had your wallet counting money and put it in your pants pocket with the billfold. The bundle you had in a plastic grocery bag with a hole in it that I told you about, and that's when you decked me. And now both your jackets ain't with yous. Neither is that bag, you dumbasses. She held her jaw and lay back in the rear seat. Tamara, how damn dumb do you think I am? I would never. Reggie put his hand on Reed's shoulder. What? He growled and slammed the glove box door shut. She's right. You put both of them in your jacket and your wallet in your left front pants pocket with the billfold. I put the money clip in my jacket pocket, and she noticed a large tear in the bag. Then you busted her in the jaw. We carried them into the bar, and when we walked in, we realized that our drop-off and neither him or our buyer were there. Oh no. For fuck Christ, where the fuck are the jackets? See what the fuck she does to me? Jesus Christ, Tamara, you were spotted, Reed growled. And now look what happened. That's almost $3.5 million of the big man's money missing, plus he looked at Reggie. The 30 G's you blew his nephew away over. I don't know how you can blame all this shit on me. The windows are dark. There is no way Jess McMichaels could have seen me. And as for the money, well, who the hell walks in a bar with millions of dollars in product and money and decides they're going to carry it in a ripped friggin' bag for sale and a deal on top of it on them, and fucking loses their damn jackets and the product with the money in process. She flexed her jaw. More like over $3.5 million. Reggie flopped behind the steering wheel. Fuck, we're dead men walking. The Russians will never believe we got attacked by a pack of ghost giant schnauzer dogs and the ghost of 2 Afghanistani and U.S. Marines. Fuck me. I'm bucking out of this shit. It was your idea, Reed, to pull this gig and go after that kid. Then shit changed because you lost it and him, and that one in the back seat goes psycho and blows away one of our biggest main connections with JBM and the freaking IRA out of Kensington. Then you get the fucked up idea when you found out that the old letter of your old man's. You don't even know if that shit actually exists or if it was only his fucked up age-eaten mind. Does this shit even exist, or is it a friggin' figment of his imagination? And if it was real, where the fuck is it? It's been 10 years or more since you said you saw it. Shut the fuck up! I'm thinking! He turned to Tammy. Your ex knew you were... Wait a minute, Tammy leaned forward. It had to be that fucking little freaky sister of his. I tell you, she's the devil herself. She's worse than Zoe ever was. Reg, take her to the motel. You get those brats of yours out of there. I don't care where the fuck you go or what the hell you do. If you're not gone by sunrise, you and those little bastards of yours and whoever you fucked with to get knocked up with them all those times are dead. I will personally strangle each of them to death and dump their worthless bodies in the fucking river right at Jess McMichaels' fucking island for his fucked up brat to find. You bastard. You still owe me $5,000 for my services. And what about our baby? What baby? You mean the fucked up thing you're carrying? Reginald Drive. I now gotta figure out how to explain that I don't have his money, nor the money I promised I'd have to purchase and restock my coppers. Why don't you go back and look for your coats, you two idiots? Reggie threw his hands in the air. I need to get the fuck out of this crew. This is fucked. I'd be better off on my own. Dumbass Reggie, as your father put it, make a call. You do that and see what happens, Reed glared at him. Well, fuck, Reed. Look at the shit heap you two have managed to get up into. Cops are all over apartment 1404. You said you wanted to talk to the woman. She blows one of them away, and as I'm trying to get the hell out of the area, you fucking pull out a fucking assault rifle with a hand grip and freaking spray the whole fucked up block of row homes. God damn you, you asshole. The whole fucking neighborhood was gathered for the upcoming holiday, and you did that. What the fuck did that accomplish? But get a set of warrants issued for the freaking truck you won't let me get rid of, and I told you she makes me crazy. I couldn't think straight. You two were fucking higher than shit when you did this. The same as you going to talk to Kathy and getting the things she had on you. What the fuck did you two do there but carve the fuck out of her? You swore she was still alive when you walked out of there. You fucker, you left her to die and got nothing. I didn't know she'd bleed out like that. I thought she was already carved when he walked in there, Tammy said. What? She pulled herself out of the fucking hallway and yelled for help. No, he fucked her while she was bleeding out, then needed to get a shower and fucked me while she watched. Tammy giggled from the back seat. You did what, you sick bastard? Reed backhanded her over the seat. Bitch, don't you just see the cops pull out of here? They got the envelope, bundle, billfold, money clip, and my freaking wallet, and the fucking coke and X along with the fentanyl. How fucked up do you think I am, or am I supposed to be that damn stupid like you and go back in there and get the fuck caught? And now you're shooting your mouth off about what we did in Newark. You fucker, you hit me again. I'll do more than hit you, bitch. Boom, boom, just like you did to one of my best clients and the nephew of the big man. And now I got our Jenny breathing down my neck with that crazy-ass Marley Biggs, Paco Diego, Pac Toto, and the other psycho, and they're reporting back to Hogshead Island, and freaking Jojo Biggs is talking to Melor Golubev and Giacomo Costelletti, as our asses are grass, and now this. Jesus Christ. To fucking begin with, you are so lucky he thinks it was a rival dealer. You fucking cost me 30 to 50 G's a month. And it's real, and he was a real good dealer and a go-between for me with the younger JBM and the IRA, and you freaking blew him away because you fucking freaked because he resembled Jess. You're past your time of usefulness, and you're spouting off like a dumb shit. I never should have trusted your old man. Iceberg and his broads are dead. The kid's been played out since he got to the inn. Ain't no way I can lay my hands on him now. They know where my mother hid my father's shit, and I want it, which I made the fucking mistake of listening to you and promised him the stash without having my friggin' hands on it. That means I will be taking Graham after all to get what I want. And this time, that motherfucker, he isn't going to survive. I will make sure of that, as I trusted your ass to dump him, and one of your ass chicked out friends made a call. That will settle the score, as they fucked over my old man's plans to take over the place and turn it into a private men's club with a little side hustle for Brighton Beach clients and the big man overseas. Tammy pulled out her phone to make the call, as her former boyfriend, Gilbert, was now in jail because he couldn't listen to her father and wait for his fix. "Wells, can you have my father meet me at the motel? I know I got the kids and he can't stand them, especially the youngest. Just until I had this one, and yeah, I'll go back out for you. You can make the connections for me in Florida, and I'll see what I can touch on that bitch in New Orleans." Yes, I agreed to that contract. Several words were spoken. Eventually, yeah, tell your father will handle Jess and Danny. I know he's got life insurance policies on both their asses, and accidental death means a double indemnity to him. More words were spoken. Fine, I'll get rid of them. Tell him I need a couple of weeks. They cost more than the state's paying for them anyhow. I'll see you soon. She hung up. Shit. If I get rid of the kids, I can. After screwing up my plans tonight, you're lucky you're breathing. We could have taken them in the parking lot. The kid can't fight. You could have blown away the blonde broad, or she's tall and lanky with all that hair, just what some of the Arabs are looking for to integrate into their women. She would have brought a pretty penny, too, and we would have had both of them. But somehow you alerted Jess, and you were here, he growled. Reginald, drive, and don't give me no more shit about what happened in Philly. Reggie started the car and drummed on the steering wheel. This is bullshit. I got that offer to take over the division and transport. Fuck this. I'm done with these two nutcases. As soon as I can, I'm ghosting the fuck out. Reggie put the car in gear with his head pounding as they drove on. I don't see how, Tammy growled, but you know my oldest is a blonde and she's 15. She would do good in your stable. There was silence for several moments. Unless what? Reed asked. Unless she's starting into the shit that the other kids can do. She shuddered. What? My little darlings do some weird-ass shit, especially Esperanza. I can't explain it, but it's freaking weird like Mickey and my mother and grandmother. My brothers can do some strange shit as well. You know, I got a touch. That's why I'm able to track this broad. But nothing like them. I sense shit. Like I can feel when someone is near me and has gifts. Reed shook his head. Hocus pocus. And you got a touch. Yeah, touched in the fucking head if you believe in that shit. Like my father used to say. That's freaking shit is creepy. Wells says he has a place for us, but I need to dump the kids before the new year. How am I supposed to do that and travel to New Orleans on Christmas Eve? He's got a friggin' bus ticket for me, but it's one way and for only one. How the fuck do I do this? I don't give a fuck, Reed answered her. Not my problem. Deal with it, but do it. Were to go with my old man. Just fucking great, she threw her hands up. I'll have to listen to him bitch about Gilbert and Paulie Boy Von Torp being busted with the Lambert asshole. Timothy, who's fucking Haiku's half-brother. Those asses got busted over that freaking museum my grandmother was left by her drunk-ass brother. She crossed her arms over her breast to look over at the sawed-off. You fucker ever hit me again. Don't even think about it, Tammy. Reggie growled as he caught the sight of her eyes in the rearview mirror. Jess will find your body on his doorstep. And after what you two have got me into, you're both lucky it ain't the two of you who I add to my body count. You wouldn't dare to try it, Reed growled. Reggie gave a side-eyed glance. Push one more of my buttons, asshole, and see what happens. Reed swallowed hard. Chapter 84. Storm finished putting away his clothes upstairs in the room and came slowly into the living room as he was still learning to navigate the use of the stairs with the walker. Graham pointed to the recliner. You get your legs up and rest. Do the slippers still feel right? Not too cumbersome or giving you any issues, are they? Storm took his seat. I'm okay, Dad. They're good, and the walker really helps on the ground floor here. A little difficult with the steps, though, but having the upstairs bathroom remedies that in the middle of the night. The envelope is on the swivel table next to you. Storm moved the handle to recline the chair and settle the swivel tabletop so he could sort things when he needed to. Dad, I've never seen an end table like this. Did you build it? Graham shrugged. It was an idea I thought about. I was in my mid-20s and had some leftover wood from repairs at the inn that were too small to use for anything there, so I dowed them together and created that with the pivot arm to have it slide out, up, and over. It worked. I surprised myself and Uncle Hut. It's really cool. Thank you. Lady Lobo lay by the fireplace that crackled and popped on a folded comforter he purchased for her. Baca and Hajna looked like string mops next to her on the floor on their own blankets. Lucky and Free were snuggled in their new doggy beds under their throws. Free was actually wearing a toasty warm pair of flannel doggo pajamas that sported Scotty dogs in red and black and was rocking them with her pink tufts of head and tail fur. Graham and Destiny sat on the love seat. Ethel was still putting items away she and Chris had run back to the inn to get and brought over from their suite. Chris had entered with an armful of items for the kitchen. When they were given the estate on the estimate on the damage done, and told that it had been over 100+ years to their beloved, done over 100+ years. Done to their beloved B&B while in the hands of Hills Plumbing and Heating Company. It took Chris several hours to calm Ethel down. Ethel shook her head, huffing and mumbling when told that the best outcome in the repair of the damage was going to be over $50,000. Chris was prepared for the explosion. Even if they were to deal with this, Ethel was going to be gunning for Hills Plumbing. She had already made the report to the Historical Society of New Hope about the damage done. Ethel was ready to kill at the con job the Hills had done for multiple generations and plumbing and heating of the system. The entire building, along with the heating system for the chicken coop and goat house, would have to be replumbed, with both incoming fresh water from the well and outgoing sewage to the septic tank that was not built properly in the turn of the 20th century when the indoor plumbing was first installed, and it was discovered the pipes were set up backwards. Larger into smaller diameter for both delivery of the well water and the outreach of the sewage. Geordie, Robert, Chandra, and Luke caught the problem with the leach field before it had infiltrated the building, as it was just starting to back up and overflow the septic and backwash into the inn's pipes, because the Hill's great-grandfather had backfilled the leach field to plug it so it would not drain into the point where it would eventually clog the system and cause the septic tank to literally explode its concrete foundation and spread waste throughout the underground and then seep into the well, which would create the issue of having to have the well shut down and the expensive cost of having a new one drilled and all new piping sunk. These games had begun at the turn of the prior century by this family to keep themselves in business for many years. Ethel had put in the report to the Historical Society for an investigation into the conduct of Hill's Plumbing and Heating, and they started to find things out immediately, having her contact the Chamber of Commerce and the Business Persons Association of New Hope. The proprietors of the Crystal Heart Lodge Inn Bed and Breakfast would be suing the plumbing company for the damages sustained by the historical business, to include the loss of income from them having to shut down for the repairs to be done, and they filed with the Society's lawyers to back them in court proceedings. With their own issues coming up and matching multiple complaints against the Hills now starting to arise from other business and homeowners of the historical houses, the business would probably have to declare bankruptcy. Chris came in from the kitchen with a tray of cups and plates for coffee and tea and nibbles he'd made. "Dad, are you ever going to stay out of the kitchen?" Graham chuckled. "No, I enjoy it too much," he answered with a smile. "It's better than carrying an M16 or an AK-47. It's relaxing. Mom gets out here, you can tell us what's happened and why I had to wake Chrissy, LeBou, and the kids. She's not a nice person when she's woken." He leaned down. "She gets that from your mother," he whispered. "I heard that, crazy legs," his mother called as the knock that came to the front door was answered by her. She left a growling, snarling Chrissy with Jim and the rest of the family come in. Ethel closed the door to follow them into the living room. "This had better be for a damn good cause, you skinny little shit head twit. This has been my worst Thanksgiving ever, and damn it to hell, I gotta be up at 5 in the morning to open the shop. I gotta pick up the Millennium Falcon and haul that 49 Hudson Hornet airport taxi 4x4 freaking monster in because Jess's tires have been slashed. All freaking 4 of them, plus the spare." "What? When did that happen?" Graham looked at her. "They were in town. We saw them when we were coming back from the shop." Graham, Destiny, and Storm now explained what they had seen. "And that's when we got the bouquet of flowers from Aunt Liliana," Storm told them. "Well, what happened while they were going shopping, they came back to the car and found that the tires were flat. These fridiots at Two-Toe Men got it to Ferry Island. Those assholes charged them $350 freaking dollars to tow it, not even on a dolly. They drug the ass end on flats and tore the shit out of the mufflers and tailpipes. Less than 4 miles from the parking lot in town, and they had the baby with them in this chilling rain. So speak up and make it quick so I can get back to snoozing, please, because right now," she glanced at the grandfather clock by the steps, "it's 11:15 and Destiny held out her left hand. "Ah, fuck!" Chrissy slammed her foot into the floor. "I'm sorry, Graham. Who the hell got lucky? I'll break both his kneecaps for you. Destiny smiled. She leaned around to look at him. You ready for this? Hit me. She planted one on him. His hands curled into her long, ice-blonde hair, and she wrapped her arms around him. Dad asked Mom to marry him tonight. They want a couple of kids besides me, Storm smiled. Christina cut loose with a woo-hoo! She, Pearl, Abu, and Kata did a happy dance with Caroline, Connie, and Bethana. The Macarena, nevertheless, with the bump added by her twin teenage girls, followed by the Baganda dance of the Makosa Buashamba Mawaga. Enough of the drunk banana man dance, Lebu chuckled as he did his own moves to his Uganda people's dance steps. You two are shitting us. Jim put his arm around Bethana to stop her Macarena moves. Graham broke the kiss. Don't get us wrong. She takes my breath away. She always has. Yes, we're getting married. It's because, as you all know, this lady is my BFF. She's my salvation and my soulmate. Her name has said it all from the beginning when I first met her. He pushed up his sleeve to reveal her name and his tattooed on his arm. We have talked about this a lot for a long while, all the way back to Princeton. We both want children. Storm is the start of our family, but we need you all to understand this. It will never change the makeup of us. I'm still gay. My lady is bi. But I've given her my heart. I look, but I'm never going to be able to trust anybody besides her the way I can trust her. Destiny has given me a life and a way to love. He looked at her. My wolves lovers and the heart moon should tell you all that. You all wanted to know why I had a tattoo like that done. He smiled. And she'll kick some ass if anyone tries to pull something on my baby brother or nephew. Welcome aboard, lady. Finally, Chrissy pumped her fist. Now, when the hell can I go back to bed? Storm has an envelope and a whole lot of boxes and furniture, plus several urns, including Michelle's urn, to deal with in the spring in multiple storage units in Vineland, New Jersey. Fuck it, I'm awake now. Hey, pain in the ass, Jimmy. I need a big old mug of Java, black, extra sweet and strong like my man and my kids. Dad, you did bring the large coffee pot from the inn, right? 'Cause I feel an all-nighter coming on, and like we did in college. Only my ass is too old to do it without a shitload of caffeine. Chrissy planted herself cross-legged on the floor as Jim poured her a mug and fixed it the way she liked it. Lebu sat next to her to accept his own cup. The kids found places on the floor, and a pregnant Bethiana sat on the sofa with Chris and Ethel. This is a private matter. Should I go up to my room? Tootie chewed her lip. RCC and Buddy are already in bed, so... Niece, plant your butt. Graham pointed to the arm of the chair where Storm sat. You're part of this family. You've been claimed. So have they. Graham smiled. RCC and Buddy can sleep through this stuff. After the day they've had, they need the rest, the poor little guys. Thank you. Tootie settled to snuggle on Lady Lobo's comforter with her, and the dog plopped her large head in the young woman's lap. And this will conclude our reading for today. In the next reading, we may find out what Storm has in that envelope and what's going on. There's also a question as to what is exactly in those storage units. Thank you for joining us in the reading at The Mouse Says the Butler Didn't Do It, and for listening and giving us your time. If you like this part of the story, please hit like, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe. And we will carry on and see what the next part brings. Have a good day.